Hello, everybody. Scott Golden here with the Raw review for the 11th of January 2021. And my gosh, this show is. Wow. I can't even. Who, why, where, how, what? All the basic questions. Week after week, month after month. I think the last time they had consistently good programming might have been 3, 4 years ago on every brand, maybe. This show is just. I mean, they're weeks away from the Royal Rumble. I have never been less caring about a Royal Rumble in my 32 years as a fan than I am right now. Show opens with Randy Orton making fun of Big Show, Mark Henry, and Ric Flair. Tom, Tom Phillips calls it a troubling legend night. No kidding, you Muppet. Anyway, Triple H enters the show. They basically pipe in a bunch of cheers and Triple H chants. Triple H welcomes us to Raw. Orton interrupts. Orton says The Office showed up because Drew McIntyre couldn't. Orton said he's supposed to have a big match. Triple H said they both know this can't happen, although they didn't give a reason. Orton knew that Triple H is there to make an announcement. Triple H says he might award him, or Orton thinks that he may get the championship right now. He said he'd win at the Rumble if he was champion. Orton says that the announcement better benefit him. Triple H is in awe watching Orton, or so he claims. He says he's setting the Fiend on fire. He says the only thing standing in the way of him becoming champion again was his current actions. Triple H understood everything, but he says he understands Orton putting legends in, or kicking legends in the head. Humiliating them doesn't benefit Orton. Triple H lost his respect for Orton. Orton's action basically made him a big jerk. They used different language, but there's the basic idea. Orton called himself a legend in his own time, just like Hunter was. Triple H basically wonders if Orton is the game, and if the game is still in there. Maybe he could take out the King of Kings once and for all. Challenged him to a fight, not an actual match. Triple H said this had no benefit to him. He said no. Orton figured it's because Stephanie wasn't there, implying that he had no manhood left. Triple H goes to say something but punches Orton in the face. Orton falls out of the ring and gets back on his feet, and Orton took this as a yes, and Triple H said nothing. Sarah Shriver interviews Charlotte Flair. Now, before we get there, so Hunter was last relevant probably 2010, 2012, maybe. So we're talking 10 to 12 years ago. Maybe it's more than that he's come back for one-offs, but the bottom line is it's been years, and we know him as the father of the NXT brand, and you're bringing him back because you have built so little of your roster to a respectable level that one guy not being there, in this case Drew McIntyre, throws the show into chaos to where you need to bring back a guy in his 50s. It doesn't make sense. This show needs to be put out to pasture in every possible way. Anyway, so they're going to fight later. Sarah interviews Charlotte. Charlotte calls Lacey Evans classless. She says that things got a little heated last week and she snapped at her father. She understands why Shriver is asking about her dad. She's about to have a match. Charlotte wants to teach Evans a lesson. I guess this is fine, although didn't this kind of make Charlotte look like a baby face and Rick a heel? Do you really want a 72-year-old man who's one of the greatest of all time being a heel? Anyway, Charlotte enters the ring. Evans told Schreiber that she thought Rick was a charming man and a man's man, and anyone would want a chance at that. She blew him a kiss. Then aired a video of Drew McIntyre talking on his phone. He confirms that he has COVID-19, but he says he doesn't have symptoms. He said it's proof that anyone could get it and encouraged everyone to practice social distancing and wearing your mask and stay safe. I mean, again, this is also a sign that with a video library that goes back, let's round off easy and say 40 years, you're telling me that for the last year they couldn't have put together like behind the scenes footage of people from their houses? You really had to put people's lives in danger for some subpar third string entertainment form that really doesn't matter. And that goes out to every wrestling company. I understand contracts, I understand money, I understand business, but at the same time, people's lives are at stake here, and a multi-million-dollar, almost billion-dollar, if not billion-dollar company couldn't have found a more creative way to keep their talent safe. It's abysmal, it's unnecessary, and it's ridiculous. Anyway, Lacey Evans defeated Charlotte Flair in 12 minutes and 26 seconds. Yes, they give them almost 12 and a half minutes here. Charlotte's in control early. Evans escapes, gets in the Charlotte attempts to figure eight. Ric Flair's music hits. He comes down the ramp. He confronts all of this, and Ric Flair enters. Evans should have been counted out. They go to a break. This is completely pointless. They return. Phillips mentions that tonight was the 28th anniversary of Monday Night Raw. 28 years, and at least 10 of them have been utterly worthless. I mean, it's great that they can have a show that runs that long. It's great that they can have a relationship that runs that long. But honestly, week-to-week television, you're going to tell me that people care about Raw? In 2 years, that'll be 3 decades, and at least a third of it will have been trash. I mean, it's just... It's utterly pointless, man. Anyway, Evans takes over. Charlotte hits a back suplex. Charlotte hits a neck breaker and an exploder suplex. She hits the natural selection, but her own father helps out Lacey Evans. Referee saw this, but didn't see Flair do it, I guess. Sees the foot, but not Flair putting it there. He stops the count. They battle near the ropes. Rick again purposely trips his daughter, and Evans falls on her for cover. Rick holds his daughter's foot down as they count the 3. Evans left with Ric Flair. This is horrible. I mean, don't people who listen to podcasts, which, I'm sorry, I think more people probably listen to a Conrad Thompson podcast than watch Raw in a week. If you combine all his podcasts, I guarantee you more people listen to that than watch Raw in a week. And so what's interesting with that is, ultimately, most of them know that Flair is happily married. So him playing this character is just goofy. Anyway, Schreiber tries to interview Evans and Flair, but they basically ignore her and go to what appears to be a hotel. They recap McIntyre retaining over Keith Lee. Kayla interviews Lee. Lee can't answer questions. Sheamus interrupts. Sheamus kicks Lee's while he's down, but he knew that Lee earned McIntyre's respect. If McIntyre respected Lee, Sheamus should too. They're about to shake hands. Miz and Morrison interrupt. And then Lee and Sheamus compared them to Dumb and Dumber. Gee, dated references, anybody? Anyway, Miz and Morrison challenged them to a match. Miz said he would topple them just like the Cleveland Browns toppled the Pittsburgh Steelers. Sheamus and Lee thought this was a terrible idea. They accept the challenge. Again, So you have the makings of storyline with Sheamus and Lee, and then you scrap it 2 weeks later. So basically, what you're showing is your storylines are schizophrenic, and no one should care about them. Speaking of no one should care, Jackson Riker with Elias defeat Jeff Hardy in 49 seconds. They plug Hardy with Elias. Elias claims to be injured, and Riker says he's inspired to destroy. And then Elias joins in on commentary. He says he hurt his thumb recording music. Elias immediately left commentary to distract Hardy, and Riker gets a schoolboy for a win. After the match, Hardy challenges Elias to a match of their own, and so Hardy said if he didn't accept, people would think Riker is better than him. Elias accepted the match and then tells Riker not to interfere. So Jeff Hardy, a guy who honestly was last relevant again probably 10 years ago, maybe a little less, but anyway, is losing to a non-relevant talent in less than a minute. And this has taken up an hour of the program. Jeff Hardy defeats Elias with Riker. Hardy wins a short match with a twist of fate and a swanton bomb. Elias asked Riker why he didn't help after telling him not to get involved. Riker thought Elias was serious earlier, and he was asked not to interfere. This is just... weren't they supposed to be doing a blow-off, like, right before Christmas, of Hardy and Elias? What is this? Why is this? Oh, because we don't have anything to fill our time with? We go into the second hour. They plug the Orton and Triple H match later tonight. Anyway, Sheamus and Keith Lee defeat Miz and Morrison in a throwaway match at 12 and 3/4 minutes, or a little bit more than that. Lee uses his power to send Morrison into Miz. Sheamus knocks him down with a double clothesline off the apron. Lee drives Morrison in the corner and breaks the top rope. The top rope comes loose. Ref and Miz check on Morrison, and I mean, it works for what it is, but at the same time, it's a waste of time. Lee works over Miz during the break. Ring crew finishes putting the ring back together. Sheamus knocks Morrison off the apron, allows Miz to hit a DDT. They go after Sheamus for a while, and then Sheamus has to make a tag to Lee. Lee hits a shoulder tackle on both guys and suplexes. Clotheslines Morrison into Miz. Lee hits a power slam and Miz breaks up the cover. Morrison hits a Pele kick, and Lee sends him into the air and off the ropes. Lee is setting up something. Sheamus tags himself in, hits a brogue kick for the pinfall win. Lee isn't upset by this. And then they got along for a moment. Shriver asked Triple H about Orton's challenge. Orton says guys like Flair and Bob Orton paved the way for guys like them, and Randy needed to understand some respect. I mean, Hunter's last televised match was the multi-million-dollar Superstar Showdown in 2019, so it's been over a year since he's been in the ring, and we're wasting it on a throwaway edition of Raw. After the break, Sheamus and Lee are still in the ring. They're arguing about something. We don't really know why. Ref calls for a bell, starts a match between two people that just won a tag match. So wins and losses means nothing. Storylines mean nothing. Let's just throw people back out there just because we can. And then they were getting along fine a minute ago, but obviously they can't. Back and forth match between both guys. They go just under 7 minutes. Lee wins clean via pinfall with the Spirit Bomb. Lee offered a fist bump and hugs Sheamus instead. There's a video package of McIntyre retaining his title and Goldberg issuing a challenge for the Rumble. McIntyre is there via video phone. He says he has a response for Goldberg. He says he was a Goldberg fan when he was a kid. He's awestruck that Goldberg would even be in the ring with him last week. He said basically never meet your heroes. Goldberg let him down last week and put words in his mouth. McIntyre is a believer and he's going to respect or get respect. Be respected or get respect. McIntyre said the championship has always eluded Goldberg, even though he was champion when he was there in 2003, and he was Universal Champion, 3-4 years ago, something like this. Anyway, McIntyre didn't want to accept the challenge initially because of the age difference. He changed his mind. He gets his hand on him, and basically McIntyre says, "You're next." Riddle talked excitedly about pizza to Lucha House Party. So you have a guy that's a real fighter in Matt Riddle. You have him with throwaway, just lower mid-card talent in Lucha House Party. Why? They wonder if Riddle is hungry. Riddle says something about it being a metaphor for when he beats Bobby Lashley for the U.S. title. They wish him good luck. Told him to watch his back. Anyway, T-Bar with Retribution defeats Xavier Woods. The announcers claim that Kofi Kingston is recovering from a broken jaw at the hands of the Hurt Business. Woods sends T-Bar out of the ring with a drop kick. Woods threatens the other members of Retribution to back off before they could interfere. T-Bar hits the Feast Your Eyes for a pinfall win. So, Xavier Woods, who's been a good part of the company for almost a decade, is putting over a throwaway guy and a throwaway gimmick. Orton tells Shriver that he had a newfound hatred for Triple H. We go into the third hour, so 2 hours of this show and absolutely nothing worth watching. Lashley with MVP defeats Riddle for the U.S. Championship in less than 2 minutes. Lashley attacks Riddle before the match, and this goes to a playback from Riddle doing to him last week. Riddle's mouth is busted open during the attack, and Riddle was asked if he wants to stop and says yes. Lashley's in control, and that was from last week. Lashley's in control and comes back quickly with a floating bro to the outside. Riddle tries some random move. Lashley's supposed to catch him but missed. Lashley makes up for it with strength and hits a choke slam, but this is completely awkward. Lashley applies the Hurt Lock, and Riddle, a former real-life fighter, taps out to Bobby Lashley. Riddle gets on the mic. He said MVP likes to kick people when they're down, and he said he couldn't beat Lashley tonight, but he could beat MVP. MVP accepts, and Riddle beats MVP with Lashley by DQ. MVP wrestles in dress clothes. Riddle knocks down Lashley with the penalty kick and hits MVP with a floating bro. Lashley jumps into the ring and spears Riddle for the DQ. Lashley and MVP beat him up. They recap the lame Adam Pearce Roman Reigns storyline from SmackDown. Let's see. AJ Styles tells Pearce that he'd win the Royal Rumble. Maybe Pearce would win the title if Reigns slipped on 8 banana peels. Again, making fun of the fact that the person in the match has no chance of winning. Great way to sell network subscriptions, folks. Anyway, not that I don't think they won't change the Adam Pearce employment or opportunity, before we get to the Rumble. But again, Drew Gulak announces that he'd enter the Rumble. Pearce says he can't do that. Gulak said Styles did. Styles said he can do it because he's a 2-time champion. Styles wondered who Gulak ever beat, and Gulak had proof on a flash drive but Pierce didn't want to see the proof. He told Gulak he can enter the Rumble if he beats AJ Styles. AJ Styles then beats Gulak in 3.25 minutes. They both tried drop kicks early. Gulak uses a few suplexes, including a Tiger Driver for a near fall. Gulak with a backslide on Styles for a 2 count. Styles come back with a Pele kick and some strikes. Styles sends Gulak to the outside, and he freezes at the side of the bodyguard almost. Styles sends him back in the ring and hits the phenomenal forearm for a pinfall victory. And then we see Keith Lee approach Triple H as he's getting ready in the back. Lee said Triple H had been there for him, and it was his turn to be there for Triple H. Isn't this awesome? We can all sing Kumbaya now. Anyway, Lee didn't mind working a third time tonight to take Triple H's place. Triple H said he had to do this for himself. Lee handed him a leather jacket, and they bumped fists. So basically, even Keith Lee, who's being treated like an enhancement talent at best, basically is begging Old Man Hunter not to do this. That's real cool. Anyway, Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler defeat Mandy Rose and Dana Brooke in 3 and almost 3.5 minutes. Jax is in control, seemed to be going for some random move off the ropes. Baszler tags herself in and manages to get Rose to tap out for the win. And then the Rose and Brooke both declared themselves for the Royal Rumble women's match. And then basically Triple H and Randy Orton, they keep calling it a fight. It's not a sanctioned match. Bell never rang. Triple H enters with his theme, and he worked in regular pants and a Motorhead t-shirt. So the guys and ladies have to wear gear, but a multi-millionaire, well, he can just show up to work in an old ratty t-shirt and a pair of $200 jeans. Anyway, Orton works in actual wrestling gear. There's about 5 minutes left in the program. When we enter this, Orton hesitated to get in the ring, and Hunter knocks him down with a punch. Orton regroups, gets in the ring, and then he punches Hunter. Hunter comes back with fists of his own. Orton knocks him down with an uppercut. Hunter responds by tossing Orton into the steel steps on the outside. Orton uses an eye poke and a back suplex on the announce table, and Hunter blocks and suplexes him on the announce table instead. Hunter grabs the sledgehammer, lights go out and turn back on. Hunter manages to grab the sledgehammer and is suddenly on fire. The sledgehammer, that is. This catches him by surprise. Lights go out completely, and a purple light shines down on the ring. Hunter's gone, so he disappears. Alexa Bliss appears in the corner. She disappears. She raises her hand to her chin, shoots fire into Orton's face. Orton sold it like he was in tremendous amount of pain. Byron Saxton said he might be blind. And this is the way they close the show. Why don't we just call this really bad sci-fi and not call it a sports entertainment or wrestling show anymore? That would be a lot more respectful to those that have sacrificed their lives for the wrestling business. Anyway, I'll be back with more of the Mid-South series where actual wrestling takes place. We've got over 1,000 audios. Keep your feet on the ground, your mind in the moment. Till next time, everybody.